I'm very happy to introduce to you this afternoon Patricia Conde Brooks, who is the Executive Director for Campus Diversity and Inclusion. And I'm sorry, I don't recognize your colleagues, so I'll let you guys do the introductions. And thank you.
Okay, thanks. Good afternoon. It's beautiful outside. Hate to tell you that. But anyway, thank you for being today. Once again, my name is Patricia Conde Brooks. I'm the Executive Director for Campus Inclusion and Community. And I have the pleasure of having Dr. Erica Dean from the Opus College of Business come here this afternoon to give you about a 20-minute presentation and hopefully answer some questions that you may have. In the spirit of academic collaboration, we'd like to point out that we also had Dr. Ann Johnson help us with developing this presentation. She's the Associate Vice Provost for Faculty and Advancement, and my colleague Brad Poulos, who is the Associate Director for Student Diversity and Inclusion Services, also collaborated on this presentation. So diversity and inclusion. We thought we would get started with reading to you the mission of our university. So inspired by Catholic intellectual tradition, the University of St. Thomas educates students to be morally responsible leaders who think critically, act wisely, work skillfully, and advance the common good. And you may wonder why it is that I'm reading to you the mission of our university. And the reason we do so is because when we think about diversity and inclusion, the first thought that comes to us, and the reason that we do it, is because it's part of the mission of university. Diversity and inclusion is most of all mission-driven. It is what we are asked to do. It is what we all here aim to do, and that's why we're here today. Just to give you a little bit of background, 5 years ago when Dr. Sullivan came to the University of St. Thomas, we started working on a new strategic planning. We looked at our mission, visions, and values, and we created a strategic plan. One of the areas in which we thought that we could all work on, do better, and challenge ourselves was in the area of diversity and inclusion. We created a strategic plan, which we named Appreciating Each Other's Differences as One Human Family. And from there, we looked at diversity in every point of view. We looked at diversity looking at different races, ethnicity, national origins, genders, age, social economical backgrounds, sexual orientations, religious and physical abilities. We looked at this as an opportunity as a Catholic-inspired university to be able to bring us all together with dignity and respect for each other. And from there, we worked together with faculty, staff, students, members of the community, and alumni to continue some of the things that we were doing great, but actually put a plan forward and looked at the year 2020 to see how we can continue to bring our community together. And really what has turned out to be in the last couple of years, an opportunity for us to have some thoughtful conversations and grow as we know that the landscape of our country is changing right now. So looking at that, Dr. Dean will explain to you how the convictions has fits into this model.
Thank you. We thought we'd switch back and forth a little bit just to keep your attention. So make sure you stay with us here. As Patricia outlined the strategic initiative and things that have gone into the vision for St. Thomas, but we began with the mission statement, and the convictions of the university were there from day one. So you're hopefully not surprised. I'm reassured. Number 1 and number 2, pursuit of truth and academic excellence. Very core to who we are as a higher education institution. That said, we do come from the Catholic intellectual tradition, and you can see number 3, and it's been highlighted here for you because there's a cohesion between who we are as a university and what we're trying to do here with diversity and inclusion, and it's not new. So this is something that's been here from the start. We see that we can have a compatibility of faith and reason. So they don't have to be in conflict. We can be building critical thinking skills and creating meaningful dialogue while simultaneously celebrating the flourishing of human culture. So a part of that is to respect the dignity of each person, to celebrate the diverse community that we have here, which includes students, faculty, staff. There's a huge part of our community. We want to make sure that everyone feels included and is part of not only this institution, but in creating a just society. So that's where we get the history behind some of this, that we wanted to make sure you saw that connection. Now, with this vision statement, this is future forward. How are we as a university accomplishing that mission? And this is our plan. So again, we are known nationally. We are a Catholic comprehensive urban university, but we want to focus on these two key points that correlate most particularly with what we're talking about here today. That we have prepared academic excellence that allows students to be ready for the complexities of the contemporary world. So yes, we're training your son or daughter in their field of choice, whatever major they have selected or will select in the next few years if they change their mind a few times. There's disciplinary and interdisciplinary interaction. And so it's not just that they're becoming an expert in their field, if you will, but they're getting that broad liberal arts space, the philosophy, the theology, the critical thinking, to be able to go and put all of this learning into practice in the real world. We truly believe that to do that successfully, it takes a deep intercultural understanding, that we're able to go out and change the world, to truly make it a difference and contribute to the common good when we lead, when we work, when we serve, when we're using empathy and those intercultural skills. Okay, so a little bit also of some context for you. This is something that's had international, national, and here local attention, particularly it's very relevant to us in the Minneapolis-St. Paul region. There's been a lot in the news, even in this past week. So the national climate is changing. I'm going to give you in a few moments some stats and figures on what diversity looks like in the United States. But we've seen an increased marginalization of some specific minority groups. And those two things are concerning. We are part of that solution here at St. Thomas. And that really pulls together the complexities of our current world. This is what we're facing today. And so then the question or the challenge for us is, how do we make sure that we're preparing students to be a part of that complex world, to bring solutions, to create an inclusive society? Okay, so to give you some context within the region, anyone here work for an organization that has had a lot of increased diversity? You hire people from other parts of the country, other parts of the world. Raise your hand. Yeah, pretty common, pretty normal. We've seen that happening for decades here in the United States. But here in the Twin Cities, we're actually the largest growing metropolitan area in the Midwest. So pretty exciting. We're growing for all sorts of reasons, but that brings more diversity, lots of kinds of diversity, okay? So not just surface level, what we can see, but different backgrounds, different religions, different faiths, attitudes, beliefs, and diversity is a good thing. Globally, we've seen that the world is now an international context, an international marketplace. When we look ahead, 2025, it's just a few years down the road, we have the GDP changing dramatically. So no longer is it US or even European dominated. We're seeing a huge shift to Latin America, Asia, countries that have not been big players